So what I was planning on doing, I know it sounds a little bit foolish. What I was hoping to do is I was gonna kind of I was gonna wait until this whole thing ended, right? This whole quarantine, whatever you want to call it. And it's doing a bit better now, at least in Newfoundland. Apparently it's not so bad in Africa either. And so what I was kind of hoping, if I could meet you there specifically, because obviously it's a place that you know quite well, at least in some form of yourself. If not every form of yourself, I'm not entirely clear on that. I have a lot of money at the moment. It's the first time I've really had this much money. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a plane ticket, and now obviously there's no flight from the province to South Africa. What I instead wanted to do is I wanted to get like one of those joint flights. You go over to Europe or something and they'll fly you down to wherever. I'm not too stingy. I'm willing to wait a few hours if it means a cheaper flight. I guess that makes me a little stingy, huh?
From the Stingray Radio Newsroom, I'm John Keane with the latest COVID-19 quick facts. Get outside this weekend, but keep up the safety measures. Deputy Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Howard News says that means keeping your distance from other people, washing your hands, and not going out if you have any signs of illness. Overall, Canada has been flattening the curve. Meantime, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the federal government will be helping provinces with their testing efforts. Stay tuned for more COVID-19 quick facts as news breaks.
No, the whole idea of it was, if there is a version of you that's still around, then hopefully you could find a way to meet me in the middle. I don't know if that makes any sense, especially considering you're right here. And even if I don't find you, I think it would be a pretty worthwhile trip. You know, I hear South Africa can be a very nice country, depending on where you are, at least. And when you are, as well. I wanted to go there regardless, but I feel like if I do go there, there's going to be some version of you that is there. And so what I will do is we can spend a few days there in whatever city is the capital. I don't even remember. Or whatever city you were in, or whatever city you spent the most time in, or town. And then we could take the flight back to wherever the joint flight ended up, or wherever's cheapest to go that'll have a flight back to Newfoundland. Or Toronto. That's just an extra flight. And so, once we are in this kind of stage, this position where you're back here with me, even if it's not like this version of Newfoundland that I understand, it's a version of Newfoundland all the same. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this lifetime or this version of reality. I don't know the specifics of how I might exist beyond my own lifetime. But the goal of which is to kind of revert back to that version of ourselves where we can kind of decide our own path. And I know some people might say that's at birth. Some people might say that's at fucking grade 7. I don't know. I don't want to go through all that again, personally. That's not so much my thing, and I'm sure it's probably not your thing either. You probably just got out of high school. I don't know why you would want to go back. So instead, we'll revert back to this version of ourselves that exists right at the end of it. Right? In where I went to school, we still had to do exams after grad. But I can survive that. I can live through that. Even if we fail, who cares? Right? That might not really be our goal. Is to graduate and to go on and do the same thing that we're doing right now, or that you were doing and that I am doing. I think it would be better to decide once we're in the same situation. That'll make it a lot easier, I hope.
And my grandmother, with her generous and sometimes mischievous sense of humor, had a story for each child. Paula was the cobalt baby. When I asked my grandmother what that meant, she said, Jim came home from the hospital after being treated with cobalt for his throat cancer. So I took pity on him, and Paula was born. Debbie was the brush baby. When I asked my grandmother what that meant, she said, I was brushing my hair on the bed and dropped the brush in the blankets. When I came back up again, Jim had me pregnant on Debbie. Margie was the mission baby. When I asked my grandmother what that meant, she said, during Lent, a missionary priest would come to the church for a week and preach Christian living. So Jim went down missionary on me. The oldest child, Elizabeth, was born in 1941 when the war was still on. She died in Montreal in 1955 after an operation to have a tumor removed from her brain. My grandmother was bedridden due to another baby, so the parish priest who was traveling to Montreal on church business assured my grandmother that he would visit Elizabeth. That parish priest eventually became Archbishop. His name was Alphonsus Penny. He later resigned his position after a commission of inquiry, which he appointed, concluded that he was likely aware that children and young adults had been sexually abused by priests. Elizabeth's body was shipped back to St. John's by train and moved to the dining room.
And we'll start on graduation. And this time we'll be the same age. I know there is a slight age difference, but this time we will be the same age. And I think that's a bit better. I mean, you probably think it's better too, because it kind of bringing you into my time, however it might happen, spiritually or something along those lines. It feels like the better outcome. I know you probably wouldn't be as famous or as infamous or however you want to put it. But I feel like it would be the better way to go out. As a contrast to the way you did, which, I mean, in a way was kind of cool. I'll give you that, okay? In a way. But I don't know, it makes me a bit sad. That's all. I get a bit sad over it when I think about it. And there is that little part of me that thinks that I might go out in a similar way. In this weird infamy. In this weird, almost viral sensation. If that makes any sense. I mean, you died in like 77, 78, whatever. You don't even know what the internet is. That's a whole thing, right? Now, I don't know if when I do meet up with you, you will know by that time. But if you do, then great, I won't have to go through the lecture. If you don't, then it'll be a fun thing to explain. Either or, I think I'm pretty happy with it.
Two Trinity Conception area men have been arrested for the alleged importation of illegal weapons following two recent investigations involving police, the Canada Border Services Agency, and Canada Post. VOCM's Linda Swain reports. Weather changes constantly in Newfoundland and Labrador, and that's why you turn to your VOCM for accurate forecast and conditions. Now, a VOCM weather update for St. John's Metro, rest of Yavlon, Clarenville, and Marytown tonight. Clear winds 30, low of -1. Saturday, sun gives way to cloud, winds 50 and a high 6. Sunday, sunny and 10 degrees. Monday, sunny and 14 degrees. Tuesday, cloudy and 16 degrees. For central Newfoundland, tonight clear, winds 40, low of -1. Saturday, cloudy, winds 50, high of 6 or 7. For the West Coast Northern Peninsula tonight, clear, winds 40, lows near 0. Saturday, clearing in the afternoon, winds 40, and a high of 7. And now you're up to date. I'm Nathan Petty. Be sure to stay with VOCM News as breaking news happens on VOCM.com and 590 VOCM.
No, the plan is to meet you somewhere, okay? Even if it's not in this lifetime, in this reality, whatever it is, I don't know any specifics. I'm not even a big believer in things like ghosts or whatever. But I feel like this has always been kind of a guiding light, in a way, and I wouldn't be surprised, is what I'm saying, if I find some connection to you when I go down. However the specifics of that might work. You know, the flight and all this, how many planes I gotta take, how many planes I gotta take back, how much it might cost. I don't even know to what extent you're even interested in racing. You might be the biggest race fan ever. You might think the way you went out was, well, like I said, it's kind of cool. In a way. I mean, it's horrifying in another sense. And I'm sure Tom's family probably hates you. They probably don't hate you. I don't want to put it like that. They might have hated the dude you were with, the marshal that was ahead of you. That might be them, but I think they're going the other way. That might actually give me a bit more time. But I might be wrapping up anyway. What was I talking about? It's South Africa and all this. I don't know. There's a lot of it you probably like, and there's a lot of it that you want to keep around. The whole racing hobby. I don't want you to have to distance yourself from that entirely in order to, kind of live a fuller life, to live a newer life. It's just, I want you to be 20. I want you to be 21. I want you to be 22. I want you to keep going on that path. And to kind of see you, even with the misconception of it, that's part of what got me. I believed in it. I believed it was like a body torn in two sort of thing. That's what it looked like. And I guess the reality of it was a bit humiliating. But it wasn't like as grotesque. I remember when the pictures leaked, I don't even know, it was like a document or a PDF. You probably don't know what a PDF is. You know what a document is, at least. When that came out online, whoever did it, and it kind of gave away the reality of it. It wasn't a torn in half. It was just, you got hit by a car. Of course your clothes are going to tear off. I think that's what happened to that one guy in that one book. I don't even remember the name of it, but I remember the way they had described him kind of jumping off a bridge, getting hit by like a 18-wheeler, however many wheels these trucks have. And the clothes just kind of like tore off because of course they would. It's just like, 18-wheeler, however many pounds of it is, you hit that going full speed, you know. I don't really think it is that humiliating, honestly. It happened to anybody. And it's not like you were the one who made the call. You weren't out in the lead. You weren't out in front. So we'll be the same age, and we'll graduate. It's not a great place to be right now. Here, I mean. But I think you'll like it. So long as you don't stay too long. And then we can go wherever we want. We don't have to stay in Newfoundland. We don't have to stay in Canada. Who cares? We can go anywhere. We'll figure that out as we go, I think. And Stan, if you're watching this, I know I'm not supposed to know your first name, but I looked it up. I don't really think that's a breach of privacy or anything. It's on your website. Hopefully this seems fairly healthy so far. I know I haven't acknowledged you yet, but I'm acknowledging you now. And it's not out of spite. It's just a bit weird, the idea that somebody else might be watching this. Or anybody might be watching this. Really? I feel like this is just kind of a process. It's like a link. And anybody kind of on the outside of it is not really getting the full story. So, if you are watching this, don't be alarmed. I think this is going okay so far. If it gets weirder near the end, then you can contact me. And we'll figure something out, I'm sure. But right now, I think it's going great. I think I'm pretty happy with it. And, yeah, I'm sure Fricky's doing okay too. If anything else, I think he's doing okay. You know, I don't think anybody's really talked to him in the past 30 years, 40 years maybe. It's been a while. So I think he's pretty happy with the results right now. And I'm pretty happy with him too. So don't be too scared by what you're watching. It's not really for you, right? It's not a bad thing that you're watching it, but just kind of keep it to yourself and understand it's not going to be obvious to everybody. And if it is obvious to you, then that does mean a lot. It does.
I just worry about people like that as well. All right, what else do I want to say? School in the fall. We're hoping to have some time with the Education Minister, Brian Ward, today. There is no word yet as to whether or not we're going back to school. The children will be back in school, in class. You know, it's even bigger than that, though, isn't it? Because if they're not in school, and they're learning from home, and how that will work, and how effective it will be, and the training required for teachers, also, quite likely, we'll all be back at work. So then what? I mean, you can't just leave the house and let your grade 3 child sit there and do their work without supervision, without someone to take care of them, and feed them a bit of lunch, and whatever the case may be. So I know we can't force it, and we can't create a risky, unsafe condition for any of our children. But there's more and more evidence now about how resilient children are to it, and even the receptors in their nose, which aren't the same as adults insofar as COVID-19 is concerned. How do we manage it? Well, can you just envision September, and the children are continue to learn at home? Oh, all right. It's that time of year, road work season. Road work season means traffic police. So for the motoring public yesterday, between Towner Line, Hollywood Access Road, some of the interruption in travel, oh my goodness, my poor old phone exploded last night. And the frustration's real. We've all been there. People reporting travel times of what might have been 45 minutes in the past took upwards of 5 hours yesterday, including airport time. You could have gone to Toronto. So the worry is real, and this can't go for 2 weeks. You can't have people sitting in traffic jams for 4.5 hours every day.
But that's all I wanted to say. I'll talk to you again soon as I get a chance. I got some footage as well of where you'll be staying. Or not so much where you'll be staying, like the area, I mean. The place. The skies and the buildings. Maybe I'll I'll talk to some coworkers. Maybe I'll get them on video. I don't have anybody yet who's been willing to be on video. I do have some videos of people already, but I have to get their permission first in order to share them with you. And in that case, I might just say it's a student project. I might just say it's like a short film. I think they're pretty aware that that's kind of been something I've been getting into lately. Before I go, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I know the TV isn't exactly like this perfect quality. I'm gonna see if I can see it in the You can't even see me all too well, honestly. Oh, no, no, I don't think you can see it. It's a picture of a young me. Yellow shirt. I don't even remember having these shoes. I do remember the shirt, though. The ears are just as far out as they've always been. I don't know how old this is. This might be 2004. So that's your start. That's your start to the future, basically, is 2004 me. And we'll go from there, I guess. It's been great talking to you. I'll see you around.
March 14th, 2014. The man next door was beaten to death with a baseball bat while I sat out the Playmobil house on the floor for a couple of 4-year-olds who wore pink gauzy wings. The Curious George soundtrack was playing, so we didn't hear any screams. Nothing. Proper 2-story, 3-bedroom dollhouse it was. We set the toy mom in its plastic yard to pick up the needles. Manolas L. off Duck Island, Notre Dame Bay.
I keep hearing about this consciousness theory, whatever you want to call it. I keep hearing this idea that there is only one true perspective, there's only one true mind that is able to comprehend its own existence. Everything else is a simulation. And I used to worry about that when I was younger. I used to think that that was how the world had worked. I used to think that I was the only one who could see anything or think of anything. I was always the one person that was able to acknowledge that I was something. Everything else just played around me and was a detail in my life. That was what I thought. As I grew older, I started getting a bit more bizarre with it. I used to believe that there had to be more than one. I don't know why I had that thought, but I started thinking that there was more than one. The number I settled on was 6, and that was globally. That wasn't in terms of province, that wasn't in terms of city, that wasn't in terms of anything. It was global. And so I was under this impression that there were only 6 true perspectives in the world, and I don't know how they lined up in history. I don't know if they were currently alive, but the number was 6. That was the number I settled on. It was 6 lives. And soon enough, I came to my current conclusion. I came to my current kind of stance on it. I had this thought, what if there's kind of a truer conscience than the one that I have, and the one that everybody I know has? What if we all can comprehend our own existence, but there's somebody, or a small group of people, that think in such a way, or exist in such a way, that I can never fully understand? What if I'm somebody else's simulation? What if I'm somebody else's detail? What if I'm just here for the 3 or 4 seconds I appear in the view? I appear as a light in somebody else's landscape. I don't operate the way that I used to. I used to go about my day regardless of these thoughts, and now I almost operate in response to them.
some reporter called over to the controller department and talked to one of the gentlemen over there, and he was not acquainted with the fact that we had been working on the problem for several days, and this matter has been determined, and while it has not been finally settled, I can report to you that it will be finally settled, and we're just awaiting the final wrap-up of it. Your state employees and school teachers will receive the raises as given by the last legislature. They will of course, most state employees, I can only answer for them. I don't know anything about school districts, but state employees certainly will receive a check on the first day of this next month, and it looks like now, I'm not a bookkeeper, but information we received, there probably will be 2 checks at that time. They receive 2 checks instead of 1. This additional money would have to be in a separate check.
Unity and hard work was the theme of the State Democratic Executive Committee meeting here in Austin today. New Chairman Roy Orr of Dallas County introduced little yellow buttons with a smiling face and a winking eye, which he says is to be the new image of the Democrat Party of Texas. He also announced a number of fundraising affairs to try to put money into the campaign coffers. Governor Preston Smith, in his speech to the group, repeated a familiar theme, and that is that Democrats fight hard during the primaries and then work hard together during the general election campaign for victory. He made no reference to problems of the Democrat Party.
We've been hit by a crisis, and it confuses us, and we're beginning to feel sorry for ourselves. As President Johnson used to say, we're beginning to hunker up like a jackrabbit in a hailstorm. Well, I'm tired of hunkering up. The Democratic Party has always been an aggressive, hard-fighting majority party, and that's what we're going to be in 1972 if I have anything to do with it.
Governor Preston Smith said some time ago that he personally intends to lead the Texas delegation to the National Convention. There are some here in this meeting that say that he's going to have to ask nicely to even get a spot on that delegation, and that he certainly will not go as head of the delegation. There are others who are quite concerned, too, about just what the Republicans are going to do in the next campaign because of the tarnished image of the Democrat Party. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Democratic Executive Committee meeting in Austin.
Minutes to 7 o'clock is the time. Generally fair and cooler today, the man says. It's going to be a nice day. You better come on, get up. You better Come on, get up. Ya-da-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. How you like Pepsi-Cola, Mother? You like Pepsi-Cola? Why don't you get a lot of it and keep it around the house and serve it to the kids when they come home from school? It won't hurt them. It's good for them. Wholesome, healthful, made from the essence of pure fruit juices. You couldn't hurt anybody with it. And its tangy fruit flavor appeals to young and old alike. And it's only 5 cents. 5 cents for a big 12-ounce bottle that contains 2 full glasses. Or 2 glasses full. Now, why don't you order the handy carry-home carton? 6 bottles of Pepsi-Cola. The price is only $6, 6 for a quarter. Get that? 6 for a quarter. When you buy 6 of them, you get 1 free. Buy it straight, it's 5 cents a bottle. 6 for a quarter. And the carton is easy to carry, handy to store, convenient for returning the empty bottles. Drink Pepsi-Cola. 6:42 in the off, 17 in the off minutes of 7 o'clock.
I did not experience any influence in the Rules Committee by Mr. Muncher. Not one time did he ever come to me and ask me to do anything in the Rules Committee. As a matter of fact, the rules of the House pretty well predicate what we do in the Rules Committee. The rules state that we must assign a bill to a calendar within 7 days after it reaches there. Nothing you can do about that. It's there.
Station WJSV, in cooperation with the United States Weather Bureau, will now give you the latest forecasts and weather information issued by that office. The forecasts cover a period of 36 hours beginning at 7:30 tomorrow morning. For the District of Columbia, fair, slowly rising temperature in afternoon Friday. Saturday, fair and slightly warmer, gentle northeast winds Friday. Maryland, generally fair with slowly rising temperature in the interior Friday. Saturday fair with rising temperature. Virginia, fair Friday and Saturday. Slowly rising temperature in the interior of north portion Friday. Somewhat warmer Saturday. This is station WJSV, owned and operated by the Columbia Broadcasting System, with studios located in the Earl Building at 13th and E Streets Northwest in the city of Washington, and transmitting facilities on the Mount Vernon Memorial Boulevard in Alexandria, Virginia, on property leased from the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac Railway Company. Station WJSV operates on a frequency of 1,460 kilocycles by authority of the Federal Communications Commission. Our next program will come to you at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The National Anthem.
Is there a camera in the bathroom? Is there a camera in the shower? Well, there's actually cameras in the bathroom and the shower. I'll explain. Keep in mind, they're not coming to prison, folks. They can voluntarily leave whenever they want. The thing is, when they walk out, they can't walk back in.
You know, I know what's going on in your mind right now because it's the exact same thing that went through my mind the first time I walked in here. You know, I said to the bosses, are we going to put this camera on the air? And they said, no, absolutely not, unless our house guests start to use this as their own private little conference center. And if that does happen, then all bets are off, my friend.
Here comes Phyllis.
Pardon my asking what's new. Of course you couldn't know. I haven't changed. I still love you so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we pause briefly to remind
We
you...
made reference earlier to the criminal charges against the NHL players. This is an action believed to be unprecedented in NHL history. 2 players face criminal charges for brawling on the ice. Charged with assault, causing bodily harm, are Ted Green, a defenseman with the Boston Bruins. He suffered a fractured skull, and his playing future is, as a result, uncertain. And Wayne Mackey, who was with the St. Louis Blues, but now plays for the Buffalo Bisons of the American Hockey League. Both players were suspended after the fracas and fined by NHL President Clarence Campbell. Bob McDevitt has an interview ready with Clarence Campbell right now. Here it is.
Mr. Campbell, I understand that the Ottawa police asked you to turn over to them the information you gathered in your investigation of the Green-Mackey stick-swinging affair, and you refused. Why?
Well, basically, it's confidential information collected for our purposes. There were no warnings given to anyone. It would have been quite improper, even by police standards, to have disclosed something which was delivered to us without the normal statutory warnings.
I'm surprised that it took the police 2 months to finally get the charges laid. Were you surprised, too, that it took that long?
Well, I'm surprised it took any time at all, really, because this is a bit of a shock to us, and I want to make it perfectly clear. There has never been a time when the National Hockey League has challenged the primacy of the responsibility of the civil authority in all situations, including hockey games or any other cases where there are assaults of any kind which take place. The nature of sport is, bodily contact sports, of course, involves assaults of all kinds, some with greater and some with lesser degree of violence. But for the past 50 years, as far as I know, the National Hockey League has not been exposed to a criminal charge.
Well, because of the great outcry following the Green-Mackey affair, don't you feel the NHL should really put much stronger legislation in the books to prevent things from happening such as that in the future?
I don't think response to that type of pressure is any good at all. I think you have to react intelligently to the situation as you see it, and I think we're more competent to judge what the situation is than anyone else, and we will certainly do it because our very existence depends on it.
Well, surely you don't want the police stepping into the NHL's
No, we do
affairs
not,
anymore.
and let me say this, I think it'll be completely absurd if they decide that that's what they want to do.
Don't you think it would inhibit the players, too, knowing that the police might be waiting in the wings if they ever do get involved?
That's always a possibility, but I don't think it's really a serious consideration, and I'm not at all satisfied that this will come to anything other than a, well, perfunctory ending.
Definitely interfere with my job because I can't. The line of work that I'm in, when I'm called, I have to go, and heating and air conditioning and refrigeration and maintenance work. I do work for people who demand my presence at all times, you know. And if I leave, I have to figure up an excuse to leave every day to go get the required dose of methadone. Why, I'm afraid I just couldn't stay hooked up on the job very long. Now, since I've started taking methadone, I haven't lost a day's work at all. And I've enjoyed the work I've been doing because I knew I was going to get to do something with the money besides buy H with it.
Boosting, shortchanging, just stealing, riding every day in the cars looking for something to steal off the docks. These docks, different docks in town, different stores.
How much did you have to steal a day? Approximate worth of it?
You got to steal at least $100, $200 a day. Then after you do that, then you may buy some dope that's no good. Then you got to go right back out then and go and steal something else. And it's constant, you live in fear of going to jail, constant going to jail and then trying to keep enough money together to keep your habit.
How did you feel with this monkey on your back? Did you ever just wish you were dead?
I have tried it many times. When I first came to Dr. Carter, I've just gotten out of federal prison. And this has been my third time. And I came to him, and I was just despondent. I had just been gone to where I didn't want to go no more. And I came to him, and he helped me.
Sabres hockey and the Niagara Frontier Sports Network. Oh.
The new Buick Riviera. It's a classic all over again.
The road has been waiting, you're anticipating the spirit you felt way back when. It's a legend once more, what the road's waiting for. Riviera, a classic returns. Oh, the great American road belongs to Buick.
Save now on the 89s at one of your 9 Buick dealers of Western New York.
I'm on my way where the soul never dies. My darkest night will turn to day where the soul never dies. Dear friend, there'll be no tears.
Why did you start training Mr. Rhythm to do these steps?
Well, he started himself. He was meant to be a 5-gated horse, but he didn't want to be 5-gated. He wanted to dance, and so we're letting him dance.
You travel about 80,000 miles a year. Is he ever tired and wants to sit this dance out?
Never has yet. He seems to enjoy it every time.
Because, you know, one of the nicest things about shopping by mail order... Pardon me? What is this? Let me see what it says. All right. All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have someone on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this copy which was just handed to me. You want to tell me your name or not? What is it? Gary. And Gary, where are you from?
The whole thing just makes me so mad. You know, we get the letters to show up for the execution. It says that the execution will take place at 7 o'clock. If you want to attend, you got to be there at 4:30 in the morning. It's like, once again, Tim McVeigh wins. He's the only one going to get to sleep late.
We could see the mob from the windows in our cells on the 3rd floor. They were demanding these 2 men. The mob came in up onto the 3rd floor. The boys were worried about whether they would get the right man or not.
The people of California are peaceable and law-abiding citizens. It's no wonder, after the body of young Brooke Hart was recovered yesterday, that they were so aroused at the kidnapping and the murdering of this young man that they momentarily forgot themselves and was determined to give notice to the world that kidnapping and the murders which follow it would not be tolerated in this state.
Careful there, young fellow. Did you hurt yourself?
No, I'm okay. Sorry I bumped into you, Elmer. I guess I didn't watch where I was going.
You must always watch where you're going. Then you won't get hurt in traffic.
I'll remember that, Elmer.
Good. Remember all my 6 safety rules. They'll help you see and be seen. Look both ways before you cross the street. Look to the right and look to the left. If there's something in the way, move forward a little so you'll be able to see better. When you're sure there's no traffic coming, start to walk across the road. Remember this rule. Look both ways before you cross the street.
And I never did finish it? I don't even know where the book is now, to be honest with you. I don't know where a lot of the remnants of my childhood are. The stuff that's still around seems pretty inconsequential for the most part. And the stuff that I've lost is the stuff that I would want back the most. And I remember my mother would always threaten to send stuff off to the Salvation Army if I didn't have it picked up or I didn't have it organized. And I don't know if she did end up sending it off, but I do know that I miss a lot of it. And whenever I see something that is from my childhood, it's not like I want to, hold it in my arms and hug it, but it's looking at it in this kind of fear of mortality, like it's there now, but it's probably not going to be there next year.